Oh, and if you're up for it, you want to talk? It's like, I don't. This whole thing of, oh, he's the first gay NFL player. He's the first gay NHL. Oh, by the way, the first gay NFL player now has their jersey in the Smithsonian. Why? It's like, what about the first gay NHL player, NBA player, MLB player, soccer? No, that whole sport's gay. All right. Give me 1 second. Alright, even though I know none of you will listen to me, this link is for Owen and Owen alone. Told you. Told you, someone for Owen alone. You can sit here all you want. Hello, Owen.
Hello.
All right, what do you want to talk about? The fact that America conquered land, nowhere near to the efficiency of the British.
What's the other choice? I mean, you invited me, so. Was it LGBT
or the fact that why the hell do we care about players' sexualities?
Okay, well, we'll start with that one then, as that's the video that you drew my attention to. So, obviously, as we're seeing in society, LGBTQ population is increasing because after decades, centuries of oppression and violence and mandated state, turning into what's it called, incarceration. After the
nobody in my country was ever arrested for being gay.
I mean, they were, weren't they?
No, they weren't.
If you let me finish what I was saying, Dave, the history of oppression has slowly been fought, and so obviously we now are able to recognise that people are gay in fairly equal numbers across society. However, in sport, we don't see that representation, despite the fact that anyone can play sport. There's no barrier to what can be done with sport. We don't see a representation. Now, in my country, in the UK, we have a football league. We call obviously.
Hold up.
Hold on, I was going to say something on Dave.
I thought we. Well,
I'm sure you do, but you asked me a question, so I'm just responding to it.
All right.
So, in our football soccer league, we have lots of players who have said that they would come out and they'd love to come and play, but they fear the negative response from various corners of the country. So be it fans, media, right-wing politicians, right-wing movements, there's societal pressure. So the video you watched earlier that tried to drum up some support for it and try to make awareness of it is just pointing to that. It's literally just that. It's just trying to say, yeah, we want people to be able to be themselves and not have to worry about that element of their lives. That's it.
Okay. I, as a fan, do not give a rat's ass the sexuality or the sexual proclivities of anyone on my team. I just want them to win. I don't give a damn what they do in their bedrooms.
So then surely, Dave, you should support this because you don't want, like, if you're
No, I don't, because again, it's jamming it down my throat.
If you're a Vikings game and there's someone on your team and they're playing, and then the person
I don't want them to bring up that. I do not want them to bring up the person. I do not want to bring up the sexuality of any player. I don't care, gay, straight, whatever.
Okay,
I don't want them to bring it up.
Homophobic fans do though.
And no. Hold up. I have several points. I let you go on. Let me bring it up. You made a point of God damn it, now I completely forgot it. Son of a bitch.
Okay, well, remember it after I've said this, then I'm sure it will come back to you. If you don't care what someone's sexuality is because you just want your team to win, you should care that people in the audience do actually do care. So if someone next to you is saying, "Oh, that
nobody
person should play
cares." This is
Well,
the
they do,
problem.
though,
You
Dave.
think
People
no,
do
no,
care.
no. This is the problem. You think the audience cares. They do not. Nobody who plays football, nobody who watches football gives a rat's ass who any of the players are dating, married to, sleeping with, having orgies with, or anything of the sort.
But they do, Dave, because homophobic chanting is frequently an
Oh,
issue.
and I remember what I was going to say to you. You claim that LGBTQ is not represented in sports. Check out women's sports. Most female athletes at a high level are lesbians. Most.
What does that have to do with what I've said?
Well, you said LGBTQ wasn't represented. On the ladies' side, it is. Because, again, they're mostly masculine.
None of that computes with what I'm saying, though, does it? Like, the point of that video is to eliminate.
Well, first off, the NFL
homophobia.
is never going to be lesbian because women are too weak to play in the NFL. They're too small, they're too fragile, they're too weak.
It's not true, though, Dave, but that's also not.
You seriously think there's going to be a woman that can play in the NFL? If you believe that, I have some lovely waterfront property to show you in Florida.
People of any muscle mass and strength can, if you think about it.
No, even if a man and woman have, first off, men and women don't have, men and women do not have same muscle mass. Second off, even if by some minor miracle they did, guess what? Men still hit harder because men's muscles are built differently than women's muscles. Hell, our skin is different. Yes, it is.
What's different? Sorry.
I don't know. I got this information from Kami Mommy.
You said even our. I didn't hear the word that you said. He said
even the way our skin is constructed is different. Women's skin is designed to be a lot softer. Men's skin is designed to be a lot harsher because, again, thousands of years, we were the ones going out hunting. Women were the ones staying by and picking berries.
We've been over this before, Dave, and as you're very wrong on this. But let's bring it back to what.
Okay, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
Well, you've not. There's no scientific data that says a woman's skin is
yes, there
softer.
is. Yeah, they have literally done microscopic shots of men's skin and women's skins, and yes, the two are different.
Men and women are social groups, Dave. They're not fixed biological realities. So the idea that
they're fixed biological realities. You can actually change your gender.
They're not. It's like saying, "Oh, black people are faster than white people." Well, there's no.
Generally, the Olympics prove that to be true.
They show that the socialization and the programs of certain countries are, leading to dominate athletics. But it's not a law, is it? It's not. It's not.
Yes, you can always have a freak.
It's not the same. It's not the fact that Usain Bolt is black that made him win the race, is it? It's not like at the end he would say, "Yes, my pigmentation."
Yeah, but look at the last. Yeah, but look at the last. I don't know, 100 years of 100-meter dash champions. I don't know how many white guys you're going to find in that group.
But it's not the fact that they are, the darker skin. It's the socialization of women.
No, it's the genetics they have. That does result in a localized community.
The social factors that have influenced the way the world is.
So you're saying that if Usain Bolt was not born where he was, with the genetics that he has, if he was born to parents in Indiana, let's say two black people in Indiana, and he had the life that he would have had in Indiana, he would have been the fastest man in the world. The answer is no.
No one knows, Dave. But the last Olympic champion, not 2024. Sorry, in 2020, the Olympic champion was an Italian man who was white. So there's no
100-meter dash.
Yeah, Italian guy.
Let's find out. You could be right.
There's no genetic truth to race. Race is socially constructed. The fact that lots of black people have done well in this event isn't because of, oh yes, pigmentation. It's because of the social factors that have gone into it.
then why is MLB is pretty diverse, but
Yes.
the NFL is 75% black and the NBA is 90% black and the NHL is predominantly white.
Different social factors go into the productions of all these sports.
No,
It's like in
it comes
there's
down.
no
Part of it
and
is genetics.
even
You know what?
they-
You know what? You know what? I will say with hockey there is a thing, but basketball, no, that's just genetics.
genetics as influenced by the social world. It's like how like right now, but the first people.
Oh, by the way, the guy that won the 100-meter dash in the 2024 Paris Games, black guy.
Noah Lyles.
Followed by another black guy, followed by a third black guy,
That
fourth black
doesn't
guy,
contradict my point, Dave.
and
Dave.
Lamont Marcel, the first white guy, is fifth.
You're not listening to my point, Dave. It's not the fact that they're black that is why they won. It's the factors that have gone into their life, which is influenced by the way that race is mediated in society.
So
It's not-
you don't think
it's
that
like-
genetics means anything?
genetics can explain why the person won the race, but the genetics that someone has aren't like someone's pigmentation of their skin isn't a factor, is it? Like someone's muscle mass and height and stamina and endurance and strength. But these are the things that go into why someone wins a race.
Yeah.
Pigmentation is no influence. Pigmentation is just what we have, as humans, have put onto someone's sociality.
But again, your
No,
genetics.
there's no but, Dave. It's true. There's no
Okay,
pigmentation.
then
no
why
influence.
why do they have heart medications, for example, specifically targeted to black people? Why do they have this specifically targeted
Because
to black people? Is it just
the
evil
social world.
capitalism, or is it because you are slightly different? And I'm talking splitting a cunt hair here. You're slightly different than me.
Dave, like I said a second ago, race is something which has been socially constructed, but has mediated our existence. So, certain.
You ever had a sunburn?
Sorry.
Have you ever had a sunburn?
I'm quite fortunate, but that doesn't. I could get sunburn. Melanin isn't like some. I'm not invincible. I'm still. My skin
I
is still
doubt it.
susceptible to the radiation of the sun.
I doubt
It's
it.
just that. Well, we'll listen to the scientists, Dave. Not just.
No, the
conventional. I
big
remember
thing,
when I was at
big thing
school,
protecting
Dave.
you is you live over in England, so you motherfuckers
get
get about
plenty of
4
sun in
days of
England.
sun a year.
No, we get plenty of sun in England. Sunburn is quite a common thing in the UK, but sunburn affects anyone with skin is at risk of being affected by the sun's radiation. It's just that some people with more melanin have a slightly better natural protection to it. It's not
Got a
invincibility. it's
lot
just protection.
better natural protection.
Sure, it's still not invincibility. Anyway, the fact that so let's use the climate crisis. Let's use heat emergencies. So heat emergencies, obviously where the body struggles to regulate itself, gets too hot, becomes in an ill status. They affect black people disproportionately more because the areas that black people tend to live are less developed, less economically affluent, have less urban planning going in, and so have less trees, grass, etc. to absorb some of the heat of the sun.
Well,
And so because of that social organization, Dave,
no. They can always move. And two,
you're not hearing me, though, Dave. Even so, we'll get into about why that's not true in a little bit. But the point is, the biological truth of people being affected disproportionately by the sun isn't because they're black, but because of the surroundings, because of the racist way that society is formed. That's the same thing with the sprinting we're talking about.
how
same
is
thing
it?
with
Wait,
various things.
whoa. How is English society racist? If you're racist in England and say something racist online, you go to jail.
Right, it's numerous cities, and that what you just said is not true.
Name one.
Name one what?
Name one racist city.
No, as in all all many cities in the West.
No,
have
name
racial distribution.
one. I'm asking for a specific example. Name one.
London has some of the wealthiest parts of the country. It's got loads of really fantastic,
Oh,
expensive
but if you
neighborhoods.
criticize
you're cutting
in
me off,
London,
Dave.
you go to
Dave.
jail. Do you not?
Dave, you asked me a question, Dave, about the cities with racial elements to them. So London has very rich, affluent.
Yet a supposed well, it's not
interrupts
really
me again,
racial.
Dave.
It's a religious minority.
asked me
You
about
go
cities
to
with
jail
racial
if
elements,
you
Dave.
criticize them. And
We'll
also,
get on to why that's not true, Dave.
what is preventing a black person from getting, if they're smart, work hard, build a business, yada yada yada,
Right.
going
Dave.
from the poorest part of London to the richest part of London?
Okay. let's
AKA
rewind, because
absolutely
you cut me off,
fucking
Dave.
nothing.
You cut me off before I finished, Dave. We were talking about why.
No,
the
because your
United States
argument
heat
sucks.
emergencies. Well, I mean, you wouldn't know it because you interrupted me. But the heat emergencies in London and cities like London across, not just the UK, but lots of places.
And by the way, we've
Because
gone
of the
we've gone across like 4 arguments since I've been talking to you for the last 20 minutes.
Dragged it away. You keep shifting what's been said.
Well, no, it's
But
because you
to
know you
those that-
can't defend your position, so you just want to move on.
And then if you interrupt me whilst I'm making the point I'm making, how it's not a fair thing to say. Okay? Anyhow, in London, as in many cities, because of the economic racism that capitalism is ingrained with, poor areas
Economic
with
racism.
worse
Oh my
development
god.
are
Economic
more likely to have
racism. That
minorities.
doesn't exist.
But it does, Dave.
No, it doesn't. If it did, rap would not be a fucking thing.
Your microphone is it went a bit fuzzy then. I didn't quite hear what you said.
Okay. If economic racism existed, rap would not be a thing.
Actually, Dave, that's quite a good argument in favor of what I'm saying, because rap plays in. It's been commodified. Initially, you can imagine rap as the voice of people trying to, explore their social conditions. You look at some of the stuff that was going on in the '90s. You listening, Dave? If you look at some of the sort of origins of like gangster rap, for instance, a lot of it is essentially saying our lives are really tricky because of the racism of the system.
And then most
in,
of those early
more
90s songs were about
Dave.
making as much money as fucking possible.
Yes, to escape the economic racism that
to become rich
in a certain position. And then, as it gets commodified,
and then you know what? Hold up. One, most of those songs were about getting rich for themselves. And of the rappers that did get out of the hood and became rich, didn't invest a nickel into their own areas, into their old areas.
You said yourself, Dave, that capitalism is a system that engenders selfishness. However,
yes, human beings are selfish.
You could name.
We are all inherently selfish.
So then, what's the point of saying what you said a second ago about not investing? Anyway, the fact that you can only name.
Oh my god! When we
rappers
secure ourselves, then we will maybe put investment back for a return on said investment.
Right, you're shifting away from what we're trying to say again, Dave. The fact that
do you believe humans are inherently social creatures, socialists? Because we're not.
That you can only name. You can only name probably a few rappers, right? Maybe a few, but more people don't escape the poverty they live in than do. The fact that
and there's plenty of fucking white people that had metal bands that went nowhere and country music careers that went nowhere.
Yes, because capitalism is a bad system that doesn't allow for social mobility. It's built on very bad principles.
Well, yeah, you're right, because socialism allows for no social mobility at all.
Separate argument, Dave. We'll get into that another time. We're thinking about this, Dave. The fact that...
All right, you just keep talking. I'm going to go to the bathroom.
That's fine. The fact that economic racism exists... Dave's not even here, so I'll save this for when he's back. My screen's behind as well. But we'll say hi to the chat, actually. Hello, everyone. It's strange being back on here again after all these months. Yeah, I feel like my life like feels very different than where it was a few months ago. You know, like I've changed in many ways, and things have happened. But I come back here and it's like the same, just nonsense being spouted. But Avalon and Babylon, I'm doing very well, thank you. It's very nice of you to ask. Gula Ferreira? How am I saying that last name? Ferreira. I apologise, Gula. Doing God's work for that is very kind. Yeah, I believe there's no gods and no masters, so. But if you're religious, that's fine. You know, it's not someone's religion that I criticise, but they're nastiest elsewhere. Raptor Blue, we are definitely gonna have to speak soon. We'll hit, you know, send me a message. We'll sort something out. The Juice now. Very glad you're wishing me well, but you're back, Dave.
There was something I was thinking about while I was in the bathroom. It is easier today to make money than it ever has been. There was literally no barriers. It's just it's just literally, you know, oh, don't bother promoting the capitalist system. I mean, right now, a kid in the crappiest of conditions can record songs on his school-provided laptop, post them on Spotify, YouTube, and 1,000 other places, and earn money from that. Again, if he's good. Right now, we are living in the most meritocratic time on the planet.
Who defines what's good, Dave? Out of interest.
The masses. The masses.
So let's say
I think Forrest Gump is one of the stupidest movies ever made. Okay? I think A Christmas Story is one of the stupidest movies ever made. I think A Nightmare Before Christmas is terrible. But I'm in the minority. The masses decided they were good.
It's funny that you say some of those films. What do you think of a film called The Iron Giant, Dave?
Never watched it, actually.
Classic. One of my favourites. What do you think of The Godfather?
I like two a lot better. One is decent.
But you think it's a good film, right? The Godfather.
Decent.
Decent? Okay, but you can see that it's loved by a lot of people. Second one you said you just liked. It's, you know, had clearly inspired the modern and
the problem with The Godfather 1 is it moves so fucking slow.
You know, sometimes you need a bit of time to build a story.
I'll tell you what.
But Dave,
the second greatest, what a lot of people consider either A, the greatest Western, or B, the second greatest Western of all time, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, I think fucking sucks.
Okay. Let's go back. I'll talk about that in a second. Let's talk about The Godfather. Did you know The Godfather only released to a small number of cinemas initially? It took a long time for it to
because of the mob.
It took a long time. Today, if a film releases to that slow of a box office, it's canned. Major studios that control a lot of film production say, no, it's not making enough money for us, and they get rid of it. Can you imagine, Dave, what would happen if we had?
Oh, I can give you a perfect counter argument to this. One of the movies that routinely ranks people's lists of near the top, if not the best movie ever made, is The Shawshank Redemption.
Outstanding.
That movie bombed at the box office.
Yes.
Completely destroyed. It was only the capitalist Ted Turner who liked the movie, who had a TV network, TNT or TBS, whichever, and got the movie very, very cheap, and he played it all the time, that people started going, God damn. And another capitalist invention, videotapes. People started renting it, and it became the sensation.
But
had it been just in the theaters, it would have been forgotten. Another film that bombed at the box office long before me and you were born was It's a Wonderful Life. The reason that film was forgotten but got renewed was because nobody bothered to take out a copyright extension on it.
You're
and
my
and
point there, Dave,
TV stations could play it for free.
But my point is, though, Dave, that in all those things we've listed, the intervention of one or two well-placed people was what was needed to save films that people actually like from being just tossed in a pile. These days, we see lots of projects which are going to be potentially quite well liked, just be put to the side. The studio won't even release it because it's not met some arbitrary economic goal. And that's the point. Going back to what
Disney released Snow White. Disney released Snow White. No, they'll release every pile of crap. Unless there's some issues with rights or some issues with this or that.
You were talking about kids having all these opportunities mediated through an unfair system that says meet our economic requirements or we're not interested. That every one kid that's gonna make it, thousands more won't. And so when we
as it has been since the dawn of time.
Yes, so it's not
okay, I grew up in the 90s. How many garage bands, how many bar bands, how many small arena bands never made it?
Do you think that
tens of thousands?
Yes, that's what we're saying.
If not hundreds of thousands.
There's a problem, Dave, with a system that says you must meet these economic requirements to be successful.
No, you have to meet popularity requirements. If people want to hear your music, they're going to come back. If they don't, you're nothing.
Some of the
I'm sorry, I don't care how hard somebody works on a song. If nobody wants to hear it, tough shit.
Music is subjective, Dave. There's no, you and I might have different tastes in music, but
yes,
but neither one of us is right or wrong, right?
Well, okay, so you think every band should have equal listenership?
No, that's not what I said. But so it shouldn't. The fact that the market actively shuts down certain people.
Yes, because they suck.
No, because as we've
nobody wants to listen to them. They have no market share.
As we went through a second ago, Dave, plenty of forms of art get essentially elevated or put down based on one or two rich people's decisions.
No. Shawshank still could have been a flop if the movie sucked. It just didn't. Now, Shawshank also opened up against Forrest Gump. And Tom Hanks at the time was the biggest thing in the universe. Okay?
Okay.
Look, had Shawshank been a shit movie, it still would have flopped. Waterworld. They play that all the time on TNT and TBS. It still sucks.
There's an example too, by the way. Why is it that we need so much money to make these films? Why is it that we pour so much? If you think about,
well, you just love to go from topic to topic to topic to topic.
I love to go to topic to topic.
I'm letting you lead the conversation, bud.
You're letting me lead it.
Yes.
We started on LGBTQ
since the beginning of the conversation.
And the point is, though, Dave, the management, going back to what we were saying, one step back of the 20 or so, the reason we don't have this, these equal, everyone having the meritocratic chance of doing it, is because not only is merit defined by markets, but the person's a chance to access that market is defined by the market too.
It's can you get people to listen to you?
Can what? Sorry.
Can you get people to listen to you?
Okay, but if you've been backed by some massive studio, you're going to have a much easier time of it, aren't you?
Well, I don't know.
Well, you do know. You do know.
You're right, I do, and I can provide a perfect failure. Brooke Hogan had her father's name, a major studio backing her, a reality television show that was popular at the time promoting her. And she was on the second most watched wrestling program, although it wasn't saying much at the time. Putting her up, and Brooke Hogan is a complete and utter total failure in music because she is meh.
No one's
She's
saying
okay. I mean, she's not. She can carry a tune, but she's just meh.
Sure, I mean, I have no idea
And
who
that
this person
bitch
is.
had every fucking advantage in
why is she a
the
bitch?
goddamn world. Here's another one. Here's an even bigger one. Kelly Osbourne. Her father is Ozzy Osbourne, a legend. Her mother is Sharon Osbourne, one of the most powerful people in music. They couldn't make her fucking career work.
No one says that it works every time, Dave. But what's undeniably true.
Well,
is
Jesus
that it's a
fucking
massive
Christ! You just said that under capitalism, kids of rich people have an advantage. No, they fucking
Yes,
don't.
an advantage.
Not in a meritocratic system, which is what we have.
It's not what we have. Having an advantage doesn't mean that it's automatically going to work. Like, if I give you a head start in a race, doesn't mean that I can't beat you in a race. It just means that you've.
Oh,
had an
hell yeah,
advantage.
you're beating me in a race,
But-
because Lord knows after 5 feet, I'm going to be like, fuck it, I don't care.
I'm just making a point, Dave. I'm not trying to insult you.
No,
What I'm saying is
the point is that money does not play the factor that you think it does.
It does, Dave, because if you have, like, let's go back to that example you're saying. If the kid who's trying to start up their new music career or whatever media career,
If they
they've
make
got
good music, they're going to be fine.
if they've got economic security, if they know their meals are coming in, if they've got schooling all sorted out, and then they've got a college scholarship because their parents are donators to some trust. If they've got the money to be able to afford a good laptop.
Oh my God! You might have to
all goes
work
into
2
it.
jobs for a while.
But so
Cry
you're
me a
admitting
river.
Dave. You're admitting there's an advantage then, because the kid who doesn't have to work.
No, I'm not, because again, by your logic, Brooke Hogan and Kelly Osbourne should be fine. Oh, Jack Osbourne wanted to be a record producer. He had every advantage for that, failed miserably.
Didn't say guaranteed success. I said an advantage. Person working 2 jobs.
Then no, they don't have an advantage.
But literally, you think about what you're saying, Dave. Like, if let's say you and I were going to compete, like to make music, right? And I've got all the time in the world, and you've got to work 2 jobs. I've got an advantage there. Surely you can see that, right?
No, I don't.
Okay, right.
If my song's better, my song's better.
I've still got an advantage.
No, I don't.
Maybe
You just had more time. You just had more time to waste.
I didn't want. I didn't take time to waste. Look, if we've got the same amount of time in the day, which we do, let's say we're both awake for 15 hours, say, and you've got 2 jobs to work in that time, and I don't, I have an advantage. Because
if my song's better, my song is better.
We're not talking about the song. We're talking about from the start. The advantage. Like, okay, let's look at it a different way.
It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the end product.
But that's not.
This is okay. I'll give you an. You know what? Hold on. Let's say you're a world-renowned chef, Dolan. You're world-renowned. You're at the top of the culinary game. I come in there and face you in a mac and cheese battle. The only and let's say I win. My end product was better than your end product. It doesn't matter that I spent most of my day doing something unrelated to cooking, and you spent all your day doing everything related to cooking. My end product was better than your end product.
Okay, and now let's imagine that before this cook-off, you had worked 2 jobs in the same day, and I had the day basically to myself.
Oh my God, how many times can I say this? My mac and cheese was better. It doesn't matter if you had all goddamn day, all goddamn week to prepare. At the end of the day, your advantages are meaningless.
Whether or not,
because I had the better product.
Okay, right. Let's chain. Let me use another analogy. If we had a 400-meter race and you got to start 200 meters ahead, and you'd also had
Well, this
a
analogy
day to
sucks
yourself.
because that would be unfair.
Okay, let's say we start we're at the same point in the start line.
All right.
I've just rolled out of bed to do this race, and you have just worked 2 jobs, which presumably, if it's a kid that you said, it's like what, McDonald's and then like some paper round or something. You've worked 2 jobs, and then you have to go and do a race, and then I've just rolled out of bed.
And if I beat you, I still win the gold medal.
Great, but the person who didn't have to do the 2 jobs still had the advantage. Surely you can see that. Surely you can see that.
No, I don't. And this is a shit analogy anyway. Because there's plenty of people that work jobs, and there's plenty of people that play in bands. There's plenty of people that work jobs and write novels. There's plenty of people that work jobs and do a host of other things. Okay? I work full-time and do this. Whether you think I do it well or not, it's irrelevant because I don't care.
No one's at this point in the argument, Dave, no one's talking about what the end product is. It's literally that the people who
No. The only thing that matters is the end product. I don't care how you got there.
If you're talking about a meritocracy, Dave, and the capitalist idea of the idea.
Oh my God, a meritocracy is, again, in the context we were talking about, it's who produces the best songs.
So firstly,
and also, Jimmy Braddock was still working when he kicked the crap out of the heavyweight champion of the world.
Yes, I didn't say, Dave. I didn't say that it's like, oh, you have these jobs, therefore you cannot succeed. I'm saying that the advantage that people who have less, other priorities and
meritocracy always wins. I am not going to accept this. That if you have
defines what merit is?
Okay, then explain to me why grandchildren born of rich grandparents 9 times out of 10 will lose the family fortune. Why are lottery winners broke 3 years after they win the lottery? Here's another one, and this is completely meritocratic based. Why are professional athletes usually broke after they retire? It's they don't know how to manage their fucking money. And it's because they don't worry about the outcome. You buy a Rolex, right? What's the outcome of buying that? You have a nice watch.
Okay.
Is that watch going to bring you any? Is that watch going to do anything ROI? The answer is no.
Right. Okay. So let's.
And by the way, this is why socialism doesn't work.
Okay, you're bringing up like 5 things. Right. The NBA people who have won the lottery or have become rich through NBA.
No. No, I want to keep this on. Why do you think money influences meritocracy?
Right. Okay. Do you want me to talk about the stuff you just said, or do you want me to talk about meritocracy and merit? What do you want
money doesn't influence meritocracy. I've proved that it doesn't.
Yeah. What? Right. Okay. I've asked you a question.
Would you like more examples?
No, I want. Right, you've just said a little stuff, Dave. Do you want me to respond to the what was it you said? People blowing their lottery winnings, Rolex stuff, or meritocracy? Which one? You can pick out. It's up to you. Which one do we to respond to?
You know what? Go for meritocracy, because I'd love to see this.
Right, okay. Meritocracy, the idea that people who have the most merit will do the best in society. They'll go and have the nicest life because they've worked for it, right? But society is constructed around the views of people who already exist in society, right? The people who already have wealth and such. So merit has been influenced by people who are already there. Case in point, let's look at the fact that racism is a thing in society. For a long time,
racism is not a thing in society.
Okay, but let me finish my point. You're wrong, but
well, no, I'm not gonna let I'm not gonna let you go on for fucking 15 minutes with a faulty point. Racism is not a factor in society.
Right.
At least in my society, I don't know about
Dave,
the UK because you can be jailed for it.
when a black person releases a song onto the country charts, Dave, even though it sells very well and is popular, lots of people insist that it can't possibly be on the charts because it's not real country music.
Nobody
Dave,
literally says that. Nobody
Loads
literally said that.
Lil Nas X has faced significant criticism from racists because they claim that his music shouldn't be on the
some
country.
weird trolls online, and that's what they call significant. Nobody cared.
Well,
Everyone just
Dave,
liked the song. Then why was Jelly Roll a thing?
what?
Why was Jelly Roll a thing in the rap community? Why is the number one rap person a white guy?
Well, so who decides who the number one rap person is?
People who buy the album or buy the single. People who spend money.
Based on what? What, like what?
People who literally go to iTunes or whatever the fuck other music thing and click buy.
And so why does that mean they're the best? Who's anyone to say what the best is based on money? How can you rank something subjective like music? It's a question. Like who is anyone to say what is more meritorious than someone else?
Biggest.
Okay, but who is anyone to say that someone else is more deserving based on something as arbitrary as who sold more? When we know that things that influence sales are not equal in themselves. If I've got a multi-billion record studio behind me, I can distribute my album better than someone else.
So, wait a second. A black guy being number one on country charts. A white guy being number one on rap charts. That isn't proof positive the country isn't fucking racist.
No,
or at least my country isn't, because you're in another one.
That isn't proof that racism has been defeated, Dave.
Then, you know what? Racism will always exist in your mind because racism will always exist. But racism, it's not a problem.
Dave, racism is something that is societally constructed.
Okay, please tell me one way my country is racist. Well, and also, once again, I need to write down what we're talking about because you do love to dance around topics.
I love to dance, and I was trying to answer the 10 things you said a minute ago. I didn't even get to talk about Rolex watches and lottery winnings and all the other stuff. Yeah?
All right, go ahead. Anyway, talk about Rolex watches.
You sure? Okay.
Yeah.
So the reason, Dave, people buy Rolex, people get a load of money, and then a lot of them end up buying Rolexes, Rolls Royces, big mansions, is because of the cultural element of capitalism. The idea that to be successful, you must look successful. You must have the codified vision of success, and that's not a law.
Can't just be because they're fucking stupid. Can't just be that they're fucking stupid.
There's no one, Dave. There's no, like I'm about to say, there's no law that says you have to have these things, but cultural capital is a thing. It's like when
so they're fucking stupid,
Dave.
They're fucking stupid. That's your argument.
No, that's not what I've said,
Dave. They're fucking dumb. If no one is holding a gun to their head and saying you have to buy these things, then they're fucking stupid.
You cut me off, Dave, before I could finish. So, social pressure and factors are a thing. So when there have been studies done on this, I'll happily link them at the end or in the chat or whatever. People who get lots of money really quickly and then end up in circles where they're with other wealthy people have societal pressure to meet the standards. So they've got to not change their attire and their choice of transport.
So they're fucking stupid.
No, they're experiencing the pressure of social mobility. No, the pressure.
No, if you bow to societal pressure, you are fucking stupid.
Everyone is influenced by societal pressure. For instance, would you leave the house right now wearing what you're wearing? Genuine question. Would you wear the clothes you wear just in your day-to-day life in the house, outside the house?
If somebody was going to drive me to Target, because I can't drive right now, you're responsible. But if somebody was going to drive me to Target right now, I would walk into Target with my head held high.
You'd be absolutely in any setting. This is so you'd be fine going to anywhere in your day-to-day routine.
Don't
just
care.
How you dress.
Yeah, fine.
What if it was a meeting at a government building? Would you go wearing? I can see you on the street.
Well, I wouldn't go right now in the first place.
Yes, but no. I mean, wearing what you're wearing now. Would you go
wearing what I'm wearing now, completely sober? Well, one, the government usually isn't putting societal pressure on me, but two, you know what? If I was in the mind, yeah, fuck it, I don't care.
But you'd go. Let's say you're meeting. I don't know, like I don't want to say a will because it's a bit morbid, isn't it? Some legal matter you've got. Some legal matter. Would you go wearing what you're wearing now? Exactly.
With wills, they normally just mail them to you. The idea of the will reading is a relic from the 19th century.
A legal matter. Let's say you've been jury duty. You're just you're in a courtroom setting.
Oh God, I would show up with this and a beer in my hand, just because I want to get disqualified.
Okay, you're the person who's been called. You've been subpoenaed. You're in court now. I don't need to say for what, but you've been subpoenaed.
I'd show up like this. Now? If I'm going to be in court for hours, I want to be comfortable.
You'd wear your Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Now, I don't quite believe you, Dave. I'm very sorry. I'm not saying.
Well, I don't have a suit. I'm showing up as I am. They demanded my presence. I show up as I am.
The fact that you said you don't have a suit shows that on some level you're aware of the social pressure to look a certain way. Yeah? And I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm not saying that you're wrong to want to go in whatever you want. I've loved
hold up there. I have a suit jacket and slacks and all that. I just don't have a full suit. I don't have a vest, nor do I have a tie. I refuse to wear ties.
But you're aware of the fact that it's convention to wear certain things in certain settings. You can imagine that those conventions exist in different pockets of society. And so going back a bit to what we were saying.
No. It is also easy to reject them. If I was a lotto winner, I'd stay exactly where the fuck I am. I'd have exactly the same shit I have. And I'd literally just sit and watch the money accrue interest while I don't have to work.
But Dave,
the biggest thing we can teach people is say fuck society, fuck everyone else, stop worrying about everyone else, stop caring about what other people think. Because here's the real cruel truth.
Dave,
when you die, your family will care about you for about 4 hours. After that, they're going to go back to somebody's house, order food, have a nice meal, and fuck off back to their lives. A week later, not even your children will mean anything.
That is a very morbid idea of society, Dave, and it's not. I would say I don't think that is true.
Well, it's true. But a month after somebody dies, nobody cares.
We can criticize social conventions. I would love to live in a world where we could just be exactly how we'd like. It'd be great. However, all I'm saying is people are influenced by, as you just said yourself, like people should be a certain way because people are influenced by the pressures around them. And so people,
they should resist it. Be who you want to be.
Whether they should or not, Dave, is irrelevant.
Well, then you're too weak to fucking say no and fuck you, and that's a you problem.
But you asked why they buy Rolexes and stuff.
They buy them because they're poor pieces of crap and they want to be rich pieces of crap. The problem is they don't have the sustained income.
That doesn't contradict what I'm saying, Dave. And maybe
yes, it does because
in fact, it agrees
because the lottery winnings should not change your life. It should literally just be the security blanket.
Dave, if you win £1 million, of course it's gonna. Unless you're already rich, of course it's gonna change your life. Like how would it not?
No, it wouldn't. If I was living in England, if I won Powerball, and let's say the Powerball, I'm the sole winner of a $1.5 million Powerball, I would not change one goddamn thing.
That is not. So you wouldn't spend anything improving your setup or getting the latest top spec stuff.
Maybe maybe things that would be very, very cheap, but no. I wouldn't buy a $10 million home. I wouldn't buy a fucking Bugatti. I wouldn't buy this. I wouldn't buy that. I would literally find out what the interest earned to me when it's sitting in my bank account or my several bank accounts, and that is what I'm going to budget my money on. So I don't have to do shit again.
Yes, so it would change, Dave, your life if you don't have to then. If you're able to.
If I no longer need employment, why would I seek employment? Oh man, I take that back. Maybe
so it changes your life then, Dave. You just.
I take that back. I think I would go back to work because I really like their health care.
So then it would change your life, Dave, is what you're saying.
No, it wouldn't change my life. I just said I would go back to work.
Why aren't you working now?
I am. Why do you think I'm unemployed?
You'd go back to what? I don't know. Why are you unemployed?
Oh, I say people that quit their jobs when they win the lottery. Me, I don't think I would because I love my jobs.
So you are working now, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Right. Sorry, you words about strangely. Anyway, okay. You'd be able to organize your finances, like you said. You'd change things that you like. You'd edit certain things in your life. It would still have a difference.
Not as much as you think.
Like, sure, you maybe you're not going to suddenly, as you said, you wouldn't maybe suddenly buy a 10 million mansion because you've only a million. You wouldn't suddenly be bejeweled and wearing like the latest Louis Vuitton, but you'd still have things different because you've just been given £1 million. Things change. People are poorer than a lottery win.
No,
while
it'd be impossible to me say I wouldn't change at all, I wouldn't change significantly enough to notice.
So you say, Dave, but for people who have grown around economic poverty, economic insecurity, who have suddenly been given tons of money and been in new
and do you know the first thing they do? They buy their mom a house, they buy their mom a car, they buy their dad a house, they buy their dad a car,
they do.
Brother a car, sister a car, cousin a car, and all this other stupid shit. And they shouldn't spend dick on their family.
Well, that sort of disproves what we were saying earlier about how everyone just forgets about you. People care about each other, despite capitalism's evils.
No, because they have to pay taxes. If they spend the $10 million getting their family out of poverty, now they owe $5 million to the government.
I mean,
and no, I have another rule I live by.
What rule do you live by?
I'm rich. You're not.
What is that? Is that how is that? Just surely that's not a rule. Surely that's
okay. Owen McDonald's. Let's say I gave you $100 million. Would you consider yourself family rich, socially rich, or you're rich?
Well, if I have
because there's only one answer. There's only one answer that leaves you not broke.
What do you mean? Like, okay, if I've got £100 million all of a sudden, of course I'm going to be helping my family out, but I'm also going to be, I mean, you know my political beliefs. I don't believe that people should have just tons of resources whilst others have none. So of course I'm going to try and make things better for other people.
Great, you're going to be broke. Congratulations.
Why am I going to be broke?
Because eventually you'll spend all your money. People are poor by choice.
You don't believe that, Dave.
Yes, I do.
I don't think you believe that.
I 100% believe it. People are poor by choice. There is more opportunity right now to make money than there has ever been in the history of mankind.
And also,
you can literally launch multiple side businesses for nothing.
What side businesses, Dave? What could
Go
you
to
launch,
Amazon.
like, right now?
Go to Amazon.
And do
Your
what?
hobbies.
And do what with them? Okay. You could. So you just said you can literally launch a million cybers. What would you do right now, then, Dave, to make this money? What would you personally do right now?
Let's see. A sauce lineup, spice lineup.
Sauce
By the way,
okay, sauce lineup, spice.
these
lineup.
are
Where
both perfectly legal.
So where are we getting the sauce and stuff from? Where are we getting these resources from?
Oh, I don't know. There's these places called Costco and Sam's Club.
Okay, well, prices are going up, Dave. I mean, there's quite a lot of inflation. There's, pretty climate crisis that's making it hard to grow stuff. So
or I could go on Amazon and order in bulk. There's that.
Okay, well, Amazon also costs quite a bit. I mean, shipping costs quite a lot.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. Well, I mean, you're presumably buying in quite a large quantity,
considering
right?
they're buying from a boutique shop.
But you're buying quite a large. It's not you're not just buying like one or two bottles. You're buying a big quantity to make this a business, right? Because to make a
but it's also a boutique. It's also a boutique business, meaning small.
But you said that you want to get
out. So what is your solution? Just give up and don't do anything?
No, I'll tell you my solution in a second, Dave. But you said it was easy, and
it is easy.
But you've just said that you need to. It starts off small, but poverty is not a small thing, right? It's not as though it's like a matter of a few pennies. To make these businesses viable, you need quite a lot of assets, right? You
Not
need
more.
Okay, well then, what are we saying then? How many bottles of this sauce is it going to take? How many do you make a profit on before you can? How are we defining escaping poverty? By the way, are we talking moving house? Are we talking being able to pay all our bills? Are we talking having a? You could
have a decently sized barbecue sauce business selling 16-ounce bottles on your kitchen table.
How many, Dave, do we need to sell before we're making a proper profit? Because also, I mean, we're also talking about existing stuff, money there as well, right? Because you had to buy it, so you have to have some money to begin with. So where's this money coming from?
The money to begin with. You mean the $500?
Yeah, where's it coming from?
Well, I don't know. You can call it a job. You can do this job on your weekend.
You got a job, and now we've got rent to pay. We've got electricity bill, water bill. We've got to buy food, transport. Well, we're laughing, but it's true, right? There's bills. Maybe
you just cannot admit that capitalism beats you every fucking time.
No, I'm just asking you about the logistics of
okay,
business.
Please explain to me how things would be better. You know what? I'm going to go take a piss. Please explain to the audience why socialism is better, because I've heard every fucking argument, and I know I can destroy you.
Okay, Dave. Well, chap, socialism's better because... Dave?
I'm back.
You need to turn your... You said that I could say to the chat, and then you put your slideshow on.
No, I'm sorry.
So I will say it now. The reason socialism is better is because instead of entertaining pipe dreams about barbecue startups, everyone had their needs provided for them. There's no...
except the government providing anything sucks.
Anyway, I want to talk more about this barbecue business, Dave. You laughed at the idea that we'd have to pay rent and prices and stuff, and it's silly to laugh at those things. But let's play devil's advocate. Let's say that this £500 that you've just said is there. They've got £500 to spend. Is that all going on barbecue sauce?
Well, if it's a one-person business, the person...
Well, it's more than one person. So is this person paying someone then?
You're conflating a side hustle to a real business with employees.
I'm going off what you said, Dave. You said that.
I said money is easier to make than ever. You can literally monetize any fucking hobby. I just picked barbecue sauce and spices because that was at the top of my head at the time. Here's another one that could be quite lucrative. Playing video games.
Okay, so let's say that that's the case. You saying, okay, I'm going to start playing video games. It's going to make me escape poverty. You said, not be poor anymore. Everyone else is surely also doing that, then, right? If that's the
well, you have to have a job to
competing.
support it.
You're
You have to have a
competing
job until your job is producing more, or until the streaming is producing more than your job. Yeah, you got to have a job. But
Okay.
again, under capitalism,
Dave?
we at least have the ability to make money off of Twitch. Under your socialist bullshit, we'd all have the streams for free.
You wouldn't need to desperately try and squeeze in a job with streaming to be able to afford like bills and basic. amenities.
Okay, well,
Dave.
let's no, hold up. Bills, water,
Yeah.
water bill. Okay, who the
Water.
fuck's gonna work at the water plant if it's not for capitalism and the fact that those guys make really good money?
So, under capitalism currently, Dave, water management has been seriously neglected in many parts. of the
No,
world.
well, it'd be even worse under socialism, sweetheart.
That's different, sweetheart. That's a bit different, isn't it, Dave? That's not
No,
what we're saying.
no,
We're talking about
it
socialism in a
is
second.
because USSR's
socialism in a
water
second,
management was dog
You're
shit.
moving on, Dave, from what we were saying, which is that under
Well, okay,
capitalism
let's
right
let's
now,
look at farming.
water.
Let's
Sorry?
look at farming. You want to work? You want to? Okay, you want to move on from water?
I don't want to move on. You said about water bills, and we're saying that water bills are skyrocketing, right as water management has been terrible. In my country, in the UK, we've currently got a terrible company trying to wriggle out of major fines because they've basically let open sewage be discharged into many waterways in the country. Many of our beaches cannot be swam in because you'll get E. coli because they've just deregulated it and allowed private companies to just dump a load of fecal matter. and
Well,
such
your
into waterways.
country. Well, your country has a lot more problems than that, but
One of the main ones being
well, it's also
deregulated
it's
and
also
privatized
it's also the
everything.
fact that Europe is a lot more socialist than the United States.
Literally a right wing
Let
policy.
a goddamn American capitalist country or company in there, and we'll have your water cleaned up crackerjack.
Private companies, Dave, are the reason that waterways in the UK are much worse
No.
than in Europe. In several cities in like Switzerland and stuff, they can have open.
And
swimming
also,
in their city.
it doesn't help that your sewage system is, instead of about a century old, centuries old.
We can have decent working sewage, Dave. We're not like inherently stuck with a system. It's the privatization, the deregulation.
Yeah,
makes
no,
our
you
waterways much
can
worse.
because, again, a lot of your cities have been ripped up and rebuilt several times.
With cheap contractors, with deregulated practices, because of right-wing policy, Dave. At every juncture, capitalism is responsible. In fact, if we didn't have a system that was managed basically for profit, we could just, put direct scientists and people with urban planning and such into the direct, matter and sort them out properly.
And
Instead of
they're
having
going
to
to
wait
solve the problems with a city like York that's 2,000 years old, or however old it is. I know it's well into the four figures.
What's into the four figures?
A city like York.
Viking City, about 1,000 years old. Well, actually, no, that's not true. Maybe a bit. Roman.
No, the
It
Vikings
was a
never
big
made
city
it
in
that
Viking
far
time.
south.
What, sorry? Vikings didn't.
The Vikings did not make it that far south.
York is a Viking. Jorvik, Dave. It's a Viking name. York was a Viking city, place of residence. They 100% did make it that far down.
They might. Okay, I tell you what. My knowledge of that history is not that great. I'll granted they landed their ships where York was.
Yeah, they one of the peoples that invaded and conquered Britain, because there's many. Because it turns out that the idea that there is one nationality inherent in anyone is
Well,
not true.
actually,
It
Britain's
mixed.
never been conquered. Not totally.
Yes, the Romans, the Vikings.
No, the
Normans.
Romans never conquered Britain. That's why they built Hadrian's Wall.
Oh, you mean? Oh, so you mean the whole? You mean the whole?
The whole
landmass,
son of a
sorry.
bitch. It's
The
never been
Dutch-
conquered.
William of Orange, Dave, invited to come, took over.
Huh?
But we are also a mix, Dave, of many things. Hadrian's Wall, by the way, it doesn't mean that much, does it? Because ultimately, the people who were in Britain are vastly changed by the many cultures that have come and mixed it. We're a melting pot. The idea that any one place, and even before that, the idea that we were one nation is silly. It's many
No,
different
you
things.
really weren't. I mean, you and the Irish fought each other for hundreds of years. You and the Welsh fought each other for hundreds of years. I don't know how many wars. I don't know how many wars between the UK and the English and the Scots existed, and even English didn't exist until
Yes, I agree. English is
about
a very
the 10th century.
Mix of many languages, which is why when you get people today saying, "Oh yes, we're the true Brits and we're this inherent species," no, of course we're not. There's no inherent nationality. Really,
Yes, there is. Now there is. Yes, there is.
There's the idea, which is what people believe in, but firstly, it's an idea that's based on relatively new things, and secondly, it's nonsense.
Then by that logic, Americans should be just a fucking bunch of Protestant Puritans.
Well, if you look
and
at
we're not.
A lot of your ways are influenced by that, though, aren't they? I mean, look at the constant fuss over LGBTQ people. Someone who's gay.
No, it's just they're fucking annoying. Everyone was Owen. Everyone was fucking fine, including me, your opponent, when the Supreme Court said they can get married. I said, fine, that's a good decision, great. Now we can end all this stupid fucking pride bullshit. And the activist said the thing that every activist said, it's a step, but we have a long way to go.
Because
they didn't.
Bigotries, Dave, don't end with one law that's been passed.
If it's the law of the land, it doesn't matter what an individual person has to say.
Right, okay,
you are never going to convince everyone to support everything.
Which is why it's a societal issue for a long. That's why it's one.
I mean, I'll give you something you don't support me on. I don't think women should be in government at all. 100%.
Right, we'll come on to that can of worms in a second.
Why do you think they should?
You said, Dave. I'll come on to that in a second, Dave. Nonsense. But you're saying that it's gay marriage is passed and therefore it's no longer an issue. But the judge that was in place before in whatever.
Well, it didn't pass. It didn't pass. No. I want to get we're gonna dot all the I's, cross all the T's. It wasn't passed. It was a court decision that ruled that gay marriage bills were unconstitutional because you cannot have a set of laws that affect one group of people and not the other. That's what it was decided on.
So
there was no law
when that was said, when that was ruled, did all the bigots who were saying no, gay people can't have the same rights stop being bigots?
Did their hearts oh my God! It doesn't matter. We threw a county clerk in jail because she wouldn't issue rights. What the fuck more do you want? I can't change the way people think.
The way people think is influenced by the bigotries of the past.
Oh my God! Then people think the way they think, and if you think that the way you win an argument is to change how somebody thinks, you are barking up a never-ending fucking tree.
The social factors that influence how people think can be changed, Dave.
No, you're never going to change it.
So
Kim Davis, the person I was talking about, still believes the same shit she believed when she was first arrested. I don't care. Gay people are allowed to get married. You have won your fucking war. Now fuck off with the pride.
Dave, right now in government, there are people working to scale...
Donald Trump appointed a gay man to one of the highest offices in the land. Secretary of the
But
Treasury.
that doesn't contradict what we've said, Dave. Right now, there are de-escalations, de-installments taking place on LGBTQ.
Yeah, you know why there's an escalation of anti-LGBTQ shit? It's because fuckers like you have never shut the fuck up about it. And everyone else is sick about it. You have, and I don't even know if you're gay, but gay people, lesbians, bis, everyone has the right to love and marry whoever in the flippin' flying fuck they want. And it's still not enough.
I've got a question for you, Dave. It's a thought experiment. Let's put our minds back to school. Let's say you are a teacher.
Okay.
And you say to the class, if someone in your class asks, Mr. Whatever, I forget your last name, Mr. Patriarchy, Mr. Dave, what did you do this weekend? You say, I went to the park with my wife. Have you done something wrong in that situation? It's a question. Straightforward question.
Yeah, and I'm giving it consideration.
What? Sorry? Is there yes?
I'm giving it consideration.
Like, you're giving it consideration. What's there to consider? The kid asked you what you did. You said, I went to the park with my wife. Have you done something wrong in that situation?
I honestly would probably just say, I hung around.
No, but you've said this, Dave. I'm asking you, have you done something wrong in that situation?
I know the trap you're setting me up for. If I went with my husband,
I'm asking you a question, Dave. Do you want to answer it? Yes or no?
I don't think a teacher should say they went to the park with any marital partner, man or woman.
What? So you're saying...
And second off, no student is asking this.
Why would they ask that? Kids are curious. They might ask something like that.
I went through school. I didn't give a sauteed rat's cunt what my teacher did while they weren't there. Maybe it's a little different in England.
Okay, right. People sometimes speak about their lives, Dave.
I did not get. I honestly, I did not know the marital status of any of my teachers.
Right.
Whether they were gay, straight, whatever. I didn't know. I didn't care.
Kids. Some kid has asked you this, Dave. And you've said, yes, I went and did something with my wife. I went to the park, you describe your weekend. Have you done something wrong?
You know what? Yes, I don't think you should describe your marital. I don't think you should discuss your personal life if you're a teacher.
Okay, regardless of whether you believe that, the fact that the straight teacher can say that and no one cares, and the gay teacher will say that, and suddenly they're now kicked out of the school.
Nobody cares. Nobody fucking cares.
But no one should care.
Nobody. You know why? How I know nobody cares? Because there's probably been 100 teachers in the interim of the Supreme Court ruling gay marriage is legal, and right now that have said, well, I went with my husband if they were a man, or I went with my wife if they were a lady, but they didn't have the trans flag, they didn't have the pride flag, they didn't have 737 issues of or symbols of LGBTQ bullshit. They just said it in the same voice that you said it, and nobody fucking cared.
So that isn't true, Dave, because people were being persecuted before.
No, they weren't.
They were, Dave.
No, they weren't. No, they weren't. I
highly recommend, Dave.
I'm older than you. I remember the timeline.
I've read.
No, they were not.
So surely then I would only need to find one person older than you who agrees with me, and then that argument would just fall apart. Dave.
Well, maybe before me they were, but not after.
We just find that 100-year-old who is a socialist and then just right-wing politics is done.
Yeah, I can present the 100 years of socialism. That worked.
Right. the fact that the pride flags exist, Dave, is because there's people who do care about LGBTQ people, who have actively campaigned for decades, if not centuries.
Name me one right now. And this is where I'm going to close with this. This is the final question. Name me one right that I have as a straight white male that any gay, lesbian, or bisexual doesn't
As
have.
we've just said, you can talk about your family. If you're straight, you say. You can talk about your family, and no one's going to care. Plenty of red states, Republican states, have banned
the voice actor who play in this same broadcast. The voice actor who played John Redcorn on King of the Hill was murdered. It possibly had to do with him being gay. I am not saying that because I want that to be proven one way or another in a court of law. If it is the case, and even if it's not the case, he was murdered, the person that murdered him can die. How much more strict punishment can I give?
Punishing a murderer doesn't contradict the idea that LGBTQ rights are a thing that needs to be advanced. We want to address the fact that
What rights do you not have? Dave, I can't alter people's opinions.
No one is going to come and Dave. No one's coming to come.
You don't think there's some crazy feminist that would want to put a bullet in me?
I don't think, Dave, that anyone is going to look at your heterosexual life and say, I'm going to burn this person's house down and kill their animals and then kill you.
Name me one time that has happened in the last 10 years outside of the John recordings.
There are dozens of hate crimes
against LGBTQ there are people, not.
Dave. There are thousands.
And if there are, every single one of the perpetrators got punished.
Dave,
every single one of the perpetrators got punished.
In this stream, Dave, you showed
every single one of the perpetrators. Oh my God! Dave, you're like a black guy crying about lynching.
I'm like a black guy.
Well, you are a black guy, but you're a UK black guy, so there's a difference. Crying about lynching.
Well, I mean,
the last person that lynched anyone did so in the 80s. And the people that did it got the death penalty.
Apart from extrajudicial police killings, Dave, which are quite
don't happen. They happen far more to white people, sweetheart.
It's more white people in the US, and they're also bad as well. They should also not be killed by the police. But the fact that these
then how do you expect? Well, Dave, then fine. We'll be like the UK and completely bend the knee to Islam.
That is not a sentence that's connected.
All right, but I have to end this.
Okay,
I have to end this for tonight.
Can I earlier on...
Tell you what, you get 2 minutes. I'll give a 30-second thing.
Okay. Well, there's lots in that wasn't able to be gone over. So I'll say to the chat. So a few people who mentioned my name, so thank you all to everyone who was saying nice things. People like... I always say, apparently it's Power Falcon, but PRWT Falcon 6. Were adding me several times in that. I'm happy to talk with you, rather than sort of just comment stuff. But obviously that can't happen if you're just like dodging around in the comments and stuff. Anyhow, clearly there's a lot of stuff that Dave didn't talk about. We'll have to have another conversation at some point, Dave. Perhaps I can even hear me still, Dave. Actually, I'm looking.
Oh yeah, I heard the whole thing.
Yeah, we'll have to have another conversation again. Another part to this lengthy one, and to anyone in the chat, of course. But just know, for anyone who's listening, that there is a better world possible than the one Dave describes. We don't have to live this. I don't even know how to describe it. It's miserable. You must work for yourself and don't care about anyone else and be rich and such. We can do so much better if we try. Over to you, Dave.
All right. One, I know Owen McDonald's, where his socialist world leads to, it leads to damnation and ruination. But I would like Owen, I would like to thank Owen for coming on. And again, I think, like I've always stressed with these streams, we need to start talking to our enemies. Otherwise, things are going to get bad.
Am I your enemy?
Well, politically, I'd still go out to the bar with you, dude. If I was ever over in the UK and ran into you, I'd happily go to a UK pub and we could play Deer Hunter or something. But I think we need to start reaching across the. Well, I take that back. Maybe not enemies. Those we disagree with. I'll rephrase.
Do you think then, if that's the case, Dave, I can see a lot of people in the chat right now suggesting that, maybe you should open it to more than just me. Yeah?
Yeah, I know, but they also don't know I'm tired. There's only
What
one
time's it
person.
in America?
There's only one. Dude, I got up at like 3:30 in the morning.
Really? How come?
Oh,
Were you working?
yeah, that's my job. Anyway, I just want to thank you for coming on and coming on with somebody that you disagree with. A lot of people on the left don't do that, especially on your side of the left, the socialist left. Don't do that. And yeah. So I guess I'll end your call and I'll give. You know what? No one.
No, go on. Let someone know. I've hogged
Oh,
the air.
fine. I'll admit Fiera. God damn it. All right, Owen, sign off.
Fiera.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you,
Take care.
Owen?
I'm very well, thanks. It's been ages. When was the last time we even spoke?
Oh gosh, it's been months. Not
Owen,
It's
I
great
told you
seeing
to
you.
piss off.
Oh, I better dash. Right, you take care. Have a nice time.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.